loss and grief is something that has been and remains to be part of the lives of so many people. And it's unfortunate or fortunate that sometimes it's good because some people get help, they go through the process, but the most unfortunate thing is that some people don't even understand the place of grieving. They have not embraced it. They feel like it's termed as being weak when you go through the grieving process. But today we have well-abled guests, people who are here to tell us more about that. And so maybe before I go to the panel, I'd like to ask for the verse of the day to be on the screen kindly. And the verse of the day comes from the book of Psalms 34 verse 18. It says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. The reason why I'm emphasizing on this is because so many people don't think it's okay to grieve. They feel it's ungodly. They think it's being demonic when you're actually going through the process of grieving. But this is to show you that God is concerned even with the emotional part of us. He was emotional. He cried. The Bible says he wept when he experienced loss. And so who are you not to? And so with me I have Jackie Oduor. She's a mother. She said that I should say she's a mother, and she's also a widow. She's the one who's coming to tell us about her experience as a widow when she lost her husband. And next we have Esther Mbao. She is a counselor and also a trainer at Amani Counseling Center, and we are so excited to have you both. Karibuni sana.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, as I've said this over and over again, this is a topic very close to my heart, and so every time I talk about it, I think there's an emotion that comes with it. But I'd like us to explore and to address every aspect of loss, because I believe so many people are watching and they've probably gone through it, or some of you even going through it now, and they're wondering, how can I get out of it? So, Jackie, have you gone through loss before?
Yes, I have. I lost my mom 5 years ago. That's in 2012.
Yeah.
And on 2nd November 2014, I lost my husband in a tragic bike accident. He died on the bike in Tigoni. Yeah. A normal Sunday like today, a day that started out so beautiful and looked normal, ended up being one of our darkest days in our lives. We went for church. I'm a fellowship at Mamlaka Hill Chapel, 8 o'clock service. Came back home. He asked to go for a ride. He said he wasn't going to take long, and he was to come and join me later to take the children for swimming. So I left. I had the kids ready, and we left for swimming. He was never late. Matthew was never late, and it was time, and I kept on calling, and his phone went unanswered. And I'm told by then the accident already happened, and his fellow bikers just didn't know how to answer the call and break the news. And so as I waited and kept on trying to call, and finally the calls now started coming, and they also started picking the calls, and not his phone, but and the questions, and were quite leading, and immediately I knew something was wrong. And I remember asking them, how badly hurt is he, where is he? One of his close friends is one who called me later and told me, Jackie, you need to get home. You need to get the kids home. I remember just bundling up the children, getting them off the pool, wet as they were with their costumes. I kept on calling so many people, trying to ascertain, but the way they were answering, I knew it wasn't well, and I knew he was no more.
What was going on in your mind at this point when all these calls were coming in, and you said they were leading?
Yeah, they were leading, but I still wanted to hope that he was only hurt and he was alive. And I can recall clearly the drive back home. I kept on praying loudly and asking God, please save him, keep him alive. As we
were
go,
the kids in the car with you?
The kids were in the car with me, very scared, very anxious, asking what was happening, what's wrong with Daddy, where is he at? And they could hear me making calls and calls coming in and answering. And as we got close to home, there were so many cars and so many bikes. And when I saw the bikes, I knew he was no more. I knew it was not well. As we drove into the compound, now there were very many people, and I remember one of his friends, one of the key bikers, Styles meeting me, and he helped me, and he told me Matthew had passed away on his bike.
What went on in your mind at this point?
Very mixed emotions. The pain was so much, I thought it would consume me. The kids were so scared around me, holding me, and asking God, how could this happen? I remember asking Styles, you guys kept on telling me you ride safe. How did this happen? I was confused, numb. I was a mess. I was a mess. I was a mess. It's one day, and I think the days that followed after that, I truly believe God carried me, because I just don't know how we got through it. I think God truly carried us.
Okay. Thanks for sharing, Jackie. Esther, have you gone through loss in your life?
We all go through loss. Let me first break and demystify. Loss is loss. I have lost. I've lost my dad, but every day there's a loss we go through. I heard you talking about the loss of a flash disk. Yeah. The small losses and how we react and deal with them actually determine how we deal with the big losses. Okay. So for me, the most recent big loss was the loss of my dad 2 years ago. One morning, I'm waking up to go to Amani. I receive a call. He's collapsed. And by the end of the day, he had gone. He had died. Yeah. So I'm going through the process of loss and grief as well.
So you're still grieving?
Yes, I am.
You're still grieving?
Yes.
So maybe I'll ask you at this point, what's grief? What's the true definition of grief?
We'll start with loss. Loss is when something is deprived or taken away from you by force, something you had not anticipated, or even if you did, you still feel this is something I needed in my life. This is someone I needed in my life. And then grief is the process of feeling the pain and experiencing that loss, allowing yourself to just deal with it because it's painful. All the pain, all the anger, all the bitterness, it's a process. So I'll say grief should actually be termed as a process and not as an event. Yes. It happens the moment you realize you've lost something, and it's a lifetime. It's a lifetime process. It never has an ending. But you can advance from one level to another in terms of your loss and your grieving about the loss.
So being a process, it has stages. And, and you said you can advance from one stage to the next.
Yes.
And maybe I'll just take it back to Jackie. Before you tell us the process and the stages, after this dark day, like you named it, what happened next? And what were some of the emotions that were going on with you?
There's just so many things happening right on that day. I had to be taken to Tigoni, identify the body. On that day I went through 2 morgues, identifying his body in Tigoni and getting him to leave. And then there was a 2-week process of putting things together for his burial. And then now the after, where he was laid to rest and getting back home and having to deal, this is our new normal, and trying to keep moving. It wasn't easy. It hasn't been. Yeah. Purpose that just a day at a time. The days that have been harder than others. The days that we've sailed through. Just a day at a time. A day at a time.
Okay. Would you say you grieved, or you've been grieving? Would you say you allowed yourself to go through the pain and the emotions that came with the loss?
I grieved. I mourned more for the children.
Yeah.
I kept on wondering, they're so young, how are they going to go through this? How are they going to survive this? And of course, as I've said, there was so much going on at that point. Funeral plans and having to lay him to rest. And all the process after. That is when it really hit me. During that period, you have many people around you. And people mean well. But right after that, guys go back to their lives. And
you go back to this.
Yes, and now you have to deal that this is our new normal. And it's not been easy. getting back to work, stuff that he used to do, me figuring out how to sort out the cars, fixing a bulb, the basics that he used to do, trying to change our routine where he dropped the kids, having to get someone else to do this. I have grieved, and as she said, it doesn't end. I don't think there's an end to it. It changes. I say it gets different. People tell you get over it. I don't think you do. You just learn to to get around it. Every day, I think grief gets a new face. Okay. Something that's going to trigger it. And you think you've done 3-4 days of being very okay and doing well, and something triggers it, and you go back way behind. So I have grieved. I'm still grieving, and it's been a day at a time, of course, with the support system. I've been blessed with amazing support system. My family, as I stepped back into work, my employer, my chief in the unit, my colleagues, peace, who've extended so much grace that helped me to get back there. Yeah. So it's every day, I think grief gets a new face. So there's no end to it. It just changes. It gets different.
All right. Great, Jackie. Thank you so much for sharing.
Remember, our hashtag is Crossover101, and every time make sure that unatuma ujumbe wako and maybe contribute to the topic. We have Esther 30 anasema, no matter what you're going through, God is always there for you. That's 30. Then we have Henry Kamasha anasema, I'm really touched with both stories. Pass my condolences to them. Yeah, alafu tuko na Weru Kori anasema, be strong, pray and trust in God. Everything will be all right. Alafu tuko na mwingine hapa, tuko na Rafael Ruberi anasema, have gone on a short break but resuming back. Mpaka yani ana direct show kwa Twitter handle anasema tumeenda break alafu tumerudi. Valentine Washu Kamau anasema, we lost our sis Faith, a mom to 3 in January. A friend Andrew just had a tragic accident in Italy. Pray for us. I think amepoteza watu kama watatu at the same time, so we'll pray for them by the time show itakuwa inaisha ama this segment. And then tuko na mwingine hapa, official Njeru anasema, life is something. I'm in form 3 but I spend so much time at home because of school fees balances. That's what he's going through. Karo Nguko anasema, what a story and so inspiring at the same time. Acha tuchukue mwisho hapa hivi. Acha tuchukue ingine hapa mwisho. Yes, every other person wanatuma hashtag Crossover101 wanasema not the show. So going back to Grace, let's continue with this. Keep hashtag Crossover101. I'll see you. We do this.
Thanks, Mo.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for the feedback. It's encouraging even for Jackie to just hear that people who are empathizing with her. And also for those who are going through loss, I believe that you are being encouraged right now, just knowing that, yes, it's okay to go through the grieving process, and it's okay, it takes time. You don't have to be rushed. And maybe I'll just take you to the counselor, Esther. This process is not something you wake up, like you said, it's not something you wake up today and you've gone through it and it's over. Like Jackie's saying, she's still going through the process. And also for the children, and maybe you can start by telling us, how is it important, how important is it for us to be very candid when we're breaking such news, maybe even for the children?
Okay. Thank you, Grace. Let me first affirm Jackie for she's not only mourning by herself, she's allowing her children to also go through the process.
Which is important.
Very important. And I also want to affirm her choice of words. She said she told her kids that their dad had died. For you, you were told your mom has gone away.
Gone somewhere, she's coming back.
So that shows that as kids, in as much as we think they don't know anything, our kids know a lot. It's just we need to break down the language into a way that they can understand it.
Yes.
For you, going away means someone will go and come back. So if you had been told your mom had died, maybe you would have been processing it in a very different way. Yeah. That's true. For her, because she told them dad has died, one was like, okay, he's gone to be with Jesus. And he knows if you go to be with Jesus, dad is not coming back. So they're also still going through their process, but they're very clear that dad is not coming back. So how do we deal with the pain and the suffering that dad is not coming back. So for our children, we need to be very candid and tell them in a simplified manner that they can be able to understand. Even for those you think are not able to understand, at some point they'll be like, when I was this age, I didn't really understand, but this is what I was told. So how do I make meaning of life even as I continue to grow? So for our children, let's allow them to go through the process. Even during the mourning process, our children are usually put aside, you know.
Yeah, a lot of times.
They're not even there during the prayers. They're taken to another person's house, you know, so that they don't see all the pain and the suffering, but they know. Allow them to go through it instead of repressing those emotions inside of them. Because as we repress them, one day after a few years, it explodes.
It explodes.
And it explodes in a very,
nice. Yeah.
not a very beneficial way. You know, you find someone rebelling, or someone has gone out drinking, or very not socially acceptable behavior, but it's because they repressed and they are not allowed to grieve and deal with the loss. So for our children, let's break it down to them, but in a simplified manner. Also, I like that she was there and she was the one who broke it down for them. If you're not able to, someone else can break it down for them. But are they with the support system that they can rely on? Okay. Are they with someone that they know, this is a shoulder I can lean on? And then allow them to cry. Okay. Allow them to also just feel the pain. They're feeling the pain. Well. One thing, not only for the children, but also for the adults, one thing I don't advocate for is telling someone, don't cry.
And that's actually what I wanted to get to. Speaking of repressing, I think we're in a society where we've not been allowed to do that.
True.
And I'll be very specific. With the men, I have a problem with men who are told you have to be mwanaume. When more can tell us, when mwanaume usilie, you know. But the thing is, there's that place of repressing the emotions. How dangerous is this from a psychological angle?
I'll keep saying this. If you keep feeling pain and you keep repressing it, it's staying inside of you. Yeah. So one day it bottles up, and that's when you find someone has had maybe road rage. Or that day they were fine at work and someone just blew off.
Or suicide.
Or suicide, you know, or even sickness. Some of these illnesses that are coming up more and more, the high blood pressure, it's because you've repressed so much inside, your body is not able to handle it. So this is where the place of counseling comes in. I keep telling my clients every time they come in, these 4 walls, I allow you to just be.
Be you.
For the first time, I'm not judging you. For the first time, I actually want to try and come and see the world from your side and just be. So when you come for counseling and you're going through the grieving process, I allow you to cry. If it is about just talking, I allow you to talk. You vent it out. Yeah. If it is just sitting there in silence at some point, I allow you to be, because I want all that anger, all that sadness, all that bitterness, all those repressed emotions to just come out. And then from there, we're able to start looking at even the grieving process.
You talked about something, sorry to cut you short.
It's
the place of even being silent, not saying anything.
Yes.
Isn't that looked at as being rude? Just because you lost someone doesn't mean you'll not talk to us. What is the place of just being silent and allowing yourself to go through the emotion?
What I'll say, how I mourn is not how you mourn. Just because we've lost, maybe that we could be sisters and we've lost the same dad.
Same parent, yes.
How I mourn is very, very unique and very special, because how I related with my dad is not how you might have related with dad in the same capacity. So I'll say allow people to mourn and grieve in their own unique way. If it is silence, allow them to be silent for some time. But at some point I'll ask you, so what is really going on inside? Yes. You know, first I allow you to be comfortable, and I'm also comfortable. The thing with society, we're not comfortable with silence, and we're not comfortable with tears.
That's true.
Are you at a place where you can also just go and sit by yourself and enjoy the silence? That's what I keep asking people. And cry. So that when someone else is crying and they're silent, you're comfortable with it. Yeah. So I'll say allow everyone to mourn as they are. Not during the funeral I'm crying, then you're saying be strong for so and so.
Exactly.
Exactly. There are some words that are said during the grieving and the mourning process that do more harm than good.
To you.
Sometimes it's okay to just be quiet and actually tell the person, I can only imagine the pain you're going through, so I don't know what to say. Allow me to just say it. It's okay.
It's okay. And maybe Jackie, Esther, we're coming back to you for the stages of the grief process, but Jackie, did you find yourself going through that? Were there people who told you need to be strong for your children, so you're not supposed to cry?
Oh, I had it all. I had it all. Yeah, people mean well, but at times
Yeah.
I've come to so believe in the ministry of silence, where at times it's best to be quiet than say so many words that are empty or cause more harm. Yeah, I had it, you need to be strong for the children. You can't cry in front of the children.
Yeah.
You're crying so much, you're not letting him go. You can't cry by the grave. A lot, I had a lot. I had a lot.
And how were you able to, despite the fact that everyone around you said that, you still went ahead and you took time out? You went through the process of grieving. How were you able to do that?
I've come to realize grief is such a personal journey. It's a journey that, as much as you have your support system, you have people around you, it's a journey that you have to walk. You have to deal with it in your own way. Yeah, we're told it's a passage. It doesn't end. It's not a place to definitely stay there, but there's no rule book. There's no formula per se. Just try and deal in your own way, in your own best way. So for me, it's just a day at a time. I had to shut out quite a number of voices and a lot of advice from many people, and just deal with myself and putting the kids first and seeing what was best for us.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a mess on air. You don't have at times as much as you try to be strong. At times as you try to put it together, you're not able to. I purpose not to suppress it. Because I also got myself at a bad place for trying to suppress the pain so much, trying to camouflage. And for me, the space that I needed to be comfortable was with my children. And so they know that the days that they'll see me a mess and, yeah, mommy today is not having a good day.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let them know. And I also see them struggling at times, and I give them the space.
So you let them be, and also they let you be?
Yes, like after a concert, one time I see my daughter very, very down, and of course I could see her really putting up a fight. She went up on stage, she presented, but after she really hit a low, and she told me, I really missed Daddy today. I really missed Daddy. I kept on looking out for him in the audience, and just letting her process and letting her be. Mama, today can I just go to bed early? And I let her be.
Okay.
Yeah, I let her be.
Thanks, Jackie. Esther, as
Yes.
we wind up, you've talked about little losses. You said it's not so much that we grieve only for the great losses. I know today we're talking about loss of a loved one through death, but there are so many other losses. We have loss of jobs, loss of money, loss of relationships. And I think some people, or maybe most of the time, you don't see that as great just because someone didn't die. But it's important to also go through the grieving for such losses. So maybe what are some of the stages we go through as we are grieving?
Okay, thank you, Grace. I'll say once you lose something, initially there's the numbness, you know, like, has this actually happened? Is this for real? And then once, and at that point, it's your body trying to adjust to the loss.
Okay.
Because even if it's just a phone, you know, you're like, is it for real?
Yeah.
Did it just happen? You know, but as your body is slowly acclimatizing to the loss, you begin to feel the pain, you begin to feel the anger, you get, you even get confused, you know, you get all these negative emotions. And this is why I say start going through the process. Don't suppress them or ignore them. Go through the process.
Allow
For diamonds
yourself.
to be a diamond, it goes through a process. Going back to the word of God, he says, go through the valley of the shadow of death. So go through and allow yourself to be with the anger, allow yourself to be with the sadness, and just be in that point. As a counselor, when you come at that point, I allow you to first feel the emotions, and then from there we look at, have you accepted the loss? Once you accept the loss, there's confusion. Okay, so this person is gone, what next? You know, maybe they used to call me on this particular day. So on that particular day, there's a lot of confusion going on. So I allow you to also feel the confusion, but after that we look at, now that the person has gone, how do we start finding meaning in what has happened so that we're able to move forward? It doesn't mean that now you stop crying. You know, like for Jackie, it's okay. There are times, even maybe 10 years time, it's okay to still cry. I keep saying it's okay to go through that process. There are times, like you said, are good, there are times that are not so good. So it is okay. It's a process. So sometimes you make 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, but continue. Ask yourself, am I trying to make progress with the process? Once you've gone through the confusion, we now look at how do we start having to let go and to close, to have closure even with the loved one. And then if they are meeting a particular need, can you meet that need on your own, or do we shift that need to another person? And then we're able to now start the process of moving away slowly. Yeah. If you don't do that, we get what we call complicated grief.
Complicated,
yeah. This is where 5 years the person is still talking about the person like they're still alive. This is where maybe you might go to that person's house 5 years later. They've not packed away those things. It's like that person is still there. Or maybe when 5 years later you're that person. So how is it for you after? And they talk like that person never existed. So we say, please go through the process, because uncomplicated grief leads to more unresolved and unfinished business in your life. You're stuck back there. If it is 5 years, you're still stuck back there.
You still have to go through it.
You still have to go through it.
Yeah,
you still have to go through it. And this is why I say, with the small losses, please also process them. If you're the sort of person who loses something small and then you're like, today I'm going to go out drinking, nikona stress. What happens the day you're told you've lost someone, or there's a really big loss? You know, that's when you go binging, or you even become suicidal, because you've not learned to effectively deal with the small losses, the little ones. So when the big one comes, we don't expect you to deal with it effectively. So this is the place of counseling. We say counseling is an ongoing process, whether with loss and grief or just generally with life. Counseling equips you to become a better person. And the beauty of counseling, I like that you said you shut out the advising. In counseling, we never advise.
That's good.
Yeah, we never give advice. We allow you to come in, go through the process and help you, because in counseling we say you always have the answers.
You have the answer within
you. have the answer within you. So it's for me to facilitate, for you to bring out the answer within you, and to get the strength for you. There's also the place of spirituality. We question God a lot.
Oh yeah, like she said, she was asking God questions.
It is normal. It's very normal to question God. Why did you allow this? I'm such a good person. How could you let this good person? Why me? I keep saying, with spirituality, God knows. So go to him. The beauty of why, one of the reasons why David was called a man after God's own heart, he would vent to God.
He poured out his heart.
He poured out his heart. But us guys are like, when I'm going to prayer, oh God, I thank you, I magnify your name. Yet deep inside,
you know you have pain.
God is already seeing your pain. So take that pain to him, be real with him, and he'll turn it from ashes into something beautiful.
Thank you so much. And I think I like what you said, the place of counseling. I feel like many people have not accepted or embraced the aspect of counseling, but as you had, it's a process, and it helps you get the answers, because they're in you and they're within you. Thank you, Esther. As we wind up, we have about 2 minutes. Jackie, maybe your last words of encouragement, maybe?
God is a giver of life. It's he who gives, and it's he who takes. I pray that we who are going through loss and grief will not question him, but only pray that he reveals himself. To the widows out there, he's a father to the fatherless. A defender of widows is God in his holy dwelling. He has broken us. We pray he brings healing. I pray that many will be sensitive to the plight of widows and the families and the children left behind. It broke my heart to see the feature that was shown on the KDF widows, and the many widows who are going through so much. At times you find that it's very hard to grieve, because you are dealing with all these things, the frustration, what is being taken away from you, being sidelined. I pray that as a society we'll be sensitive to the plight of those who have gone through loss and grieving, and support them more. Support them more.
Thank you so much, Jackie, even for sharing and allowing yourself to be here to encourage other people who are probably going through the same. Esther, as we wind up?
I'll say, through loss and grief, go through the process. Don't shortcut it, don't block it. don't evade it. Eventually it catches up with you at some point, and it gets even worse because it has now become complicated. In terms of counseling, I keep saying counseling is for normal people going through normal life issues. They've just lost bearing on how to cope with it effectively. So counseling is for anyone and everyone going through normal life issues, because death is part of us, it's part of normal life, but it's how we deal with it that matters. Do we move on with life effectively? Do we become the people you are created to be? Yes, and deal with the small losses.
Don't shove them away.
Don't shove them away.